Hey there, Moonwalkers. So I am live. Today's Thursday, 9/11, September 11. Um, so I'm going live today to kind of sum up Believers Week, but also there are other things that I want to talk to you about, and I hope some of you will show up and have a conversation with me. Here's the thing. I was supposed to record an episode today for the podcast, but then I woke up today around 5 a.m. to read the devastating news about Charlie Kirk. And honestly, I couldn't stop crying for a good few hours, and I'm not in the greatest mood, and I cannot really talk about the believers world and the death hoax and everything. um For those of you who don't know, I am from Israel, and Charlie Kirk was a great supporter of my country, which is a heroic thing to do, especially in a time when there's so much hate for my country and anti-Semitism is just rising, and it is scary and sad and terrible to watch. It is said that every generation of, my people is going to witness that. And, I was always aware that anti Semitism is out there, but I've never actually seen it until October 7th and everything. And, it's really devastating to see how much people can hate other people without actually knowing them or actually care to learn the truth. But that's a whole other thing. So basically, to see someone who is pro Israel, pro my country, and supporting my country in such passion. It's very moving, it's very emotional, and I'm very grateful. My people are very grateful for people like that, especially when they're not Jewish and they don't live in Israel, and they're still supportive. And it's very, we always embrace those people. And so to hear that a man like Charlie Kirk, who was brave enough to voice his opinion, was murdered simply because he had a different opinion. It's devastating, it's heartbreaking. And as I said, I'm very, very sad today. And I'm very emotional today. But then I decided to go live still because I was thinking that, I should talk about opinions and how people should voice their opinion and how others are reacting to other people voicing their opinion. And not to compare, obviously, those are very, very different things. I am aware of it. But this week, since I've talked about my beliefs and saying out loud that I believe that Michael Jackson is alive, people who are non believers showed up to my channel this week, and they decided to share with me that they feel differently, which is perfectly fine. But also, they did it in an unkind way, which is not okay. But like I said, it's a completely different thing. But I'm just talking about opinions, and when people are voicing their opinions and someone disagree with them, you can disagree with someone without being nasty. You really don't need to be nasty when you think and feel different. Okay? Um, when some girl wrote to me, well, if you truly believe that Michael's alive, then prove to me, and da 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 da. And then I wrote a post saying, listen, it took me a few years to be convinced myself that this is the truth. I'm not going to teach you what I know in 5 minutes or in just writing. It takes years of research and really going deep into in MJ's world. You need to really go deep in MJ's world and learn what he had to deal with and why he had to do it and how he did it, and see things with different mindset. Okay, so for all those non-believers who chooses to call believers names like crazy, delusional, living in a fantasy, you need to see a psychiatrist, and all those things, I understand that it's easier to say that than to actually sit down and do the work that, as I said, takes years to do. I understand that it's easier being nasty than to actually use your head and your heart. Um, but as I said, you're free to believe whatever you want. Just, you know, do it nicely. Or you want to express your opinion that you feel different than me, fine. Still be kind about it. I have the right to believe whatever I want to believe, and you have the right to believe whatever you want to believe. You see, when you tell me that you believe that Michael Jackson is gone and I know something else, I don't come after you and try to convince you in what I know. I don't. I just share my beliefs with whoever wants to listen, and that's it. Okay? I could have researched the death hoax just for myself and never shared this information with anyone, and I never had to deal with those nasty comments. I didn't have to share it with people. But then I decided to do that to show support, to show that there are other ways to look at what happened on June 25th, 2009. Okay, I am allowed to do that. The internet is a free space to voice your opinion, to share things that you see, and it's okay, everyone's allowed to. When I voiced my opinion, I was never, in the 6 and something years that I'm doing it, I was never nasty to anyone. I talked to people who believe that Elvis Presley is alive. And I tried to investigate them to see what are their evidence. And I wasn't convinced, but still, even though I wasn't convinced, I still had a respectful conversation with them. I never once attacked anyone. So, I think that's the way to handle things. It's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to be nasty. And if we'll go back to the Charlie Kirk story, it is definitely not okay to end someone's life just because they think different than you. Listen, Charlie Kirk is a great supporter of my country, but he also said a lot of things that I don't agree with, like when he talked about abortions. And I totally disagree with him, and I don't think that a man should talk about those kinds of things. I don't think that a man truly is capable of understanding what a woman is going through. And I understand that when he talked about abortion, his reason was because he was pro-life, and I respect that opinion. However, I'm thinking about the life of the woman. He never said anything about the life of the woman that's carrying that other life. And that bothered me. So therefore, I did not agree with him on that. But still, I never once thought that he should die because we think differently. What happened was horrible and heartbreaking, and it should have never happened. But, that's basically what happens when you can't win with logic. When you can't, he was a very, very sharp-minded man. And whenever someone talked about, voiced their opinion, first of all, from what I've seen, he was never disrespectful. But he was just respectfully and logically showed you that you were wrong. And when other people couldn't prove their point simply because, you can't really fight with facts, fight against facts, then you know, when you can't silence the message, you silence the messenger. And that's what happened today with Charlie Kirk. Also today, you know, it's 9/11. And this day is a reminder of, you know, what happens when you are for those people who are for killing other people simply because they are not like them. It's just so symbolic that it happened today. You know, this whole day is just really, really sad. I woke up to really sad news. So as you can understand, I'm not in the greatest mood. However, I am going to use what happened to ask you. And I also created a poll about it. Like, do you think it's okay for me to expand the subjects I am talking about? And every now and then, even though this is an MJ channel, every now and then I will talk about other things that I believe are important to talk about, to discuss. Simply because, you know, I do have opinions about things and I would love to share them with you. I mean, this is pretty much the only platform I use on social media where I still have some interaction with people. So I would love to voice my opinion on other things and to expand my topics. So I was just wondering, what do you guys think about it? Okay. You know, because when it comes to Michael, as much as I love talking about him and supporting him, at the end of the day, the topics when it comes to him, it's pretty limited. I mean, I've been doing this for over 6 years. I know I kept repeating that, but I'm just saying that over all these years, I kind of felt like I'm starting to repeat myself, you know? So yes, it's important to talk about Michael, and I will do it for as long as I can, but I would also like to kind of combine it with other topics. Okay, I hope you guys are going to be okay with it and participate and voice your opinions as well, because this is really the whole purpose of social media, to interact, you know. So yeah, okay, so this week we talked about you know, the believer's world, and I showed you a little bit of my research. This is really not even 10% of what I know, but as I said before, a week is not enough for me to show you everything that I know. And to be honest with you, I don't want to dig with it, because this channel is really not about the death hoax. I mean, I do what I do because I believe that Michael is alive, and I believe that he follows his fans, and I just want him to see that we are still supporting him. We're still here. We're not going to leave him. We are going to defend him and tell people what's really going on, who he truly is, and you know, the truth. I'm here for the truth. So, but I will say, if you really want to know the truth, or even if you're a non-believer, I will advise you to go and either do your own research or sit down and look at other people's research, because it is fascinating, and you will learn about Michael while, you know, digging in the death hoax. You might find out things that you don't know about him, and there is so much to know about him. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. So yeah, I talked about everything. So I will ask you again, and I will leave you with that question. Is it okay for you if I will expand the topics that are being talked about in this channel? You know, I will try and combine Michael in this, in every topic that I will talk about. Like, For example, when it comes to Charlie Kirk, seeing what happened to him just because he was different, just because he thought different, I couldn't help but thinking about Michael. Michael was someone who thought different and acted different and wanted different things, and he paid a price for it, you know. Being different got him to be attacked by the media, got him to be judged by others. And yeah, because of who he was, yeah, he almost lost his life. I mean, people really did wanted to get rid of him. First they tried to put him in jail, in prison, you know, and when they failed, they got really mad, and you know, they wanted to get rid of him because he is different and he's voicing his opinions, whether it's in his songs or speeches. You know, he talked about the music industry and everything that happens there. He talks about how governments treats people and that they don't really care about people. You know, he talked about things that they don't want him to talk about. Michael has a big platform, and they know that when he talks, people listen. So, you know, they wanted to silence him. And that's why he escaped. You know, if we are in Believers Week, yeah, you should know that this is why he escaped, because his life was in danger. And for all those non-believers who are saying, what, you think he just disappeared, and what about his children, and what about everything? I believe that his children know he's alive. He is in touch with his children. He is wearing disguises, so you don't know that it's him, but he is there with his children. But he is also focusing about his own life. He's behind many projects, movies. He's creating movies. That's his biggest dream to create, and that's what he's doing. And like I talked about this movie this week, Now You See Me, I believe he's behind it, and he left us clues in it just so that we know that he is still here. The first movie came out in 2013. I don't remember when the second one came out, but I know that the third one in the series will come out next month, which tells me he is still here. Of course, we got other clues lately in his birthday that he is still here, which is a good thing. But anyway, I know what I know. And you guys can call me and other believers however you want. You're not going to change reality. You're not going to change our opinions. The truth will come out someday. I truly believe that, and I've been saying it so much over the years. The truth always comes out. Okay? It takes longer for it to come out, but it does come out eventually. So, you know, like I said, when it comes to being different and paying a price for it, yeah, that's what happened to Charlie Kirk, and that's what happened to Michael, almost. He, thank God, did not lose his life, but he did lose a lot of things, and just simply for being himself. So, like I said, I can basically compare any topic that I want to talk about to MJ. So, yeah, I think it's time to start and talk about other things. And I'm sure you guys will be okay with it, and I'm sure you guys are interested in other things that are a little bit outside of MJ's world. But we're still going to stay in MJ's world, but just expand it a bit, okay? So, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for listening. You are more than welcome to voice your opinion in the comments. I promise I will be respectful. And that's it. Have a great day. Even though it's a sad day, but I hope we all learned that violence is never the answer. And I hope that what will stay with us from Charlie is that even if you think differently than someone, still be respectful and fight with logic, not with guns. Okay? So, thank you for being here, and I will talk to you Sunday. I still don't know what the topic of next week will be. It's going to be week number 7, and as you know, 7 is an important number in MJ's world. So I'll see what I'm gonna do. I just feel like since it's week 7, it needs to be a special week, even more special than this week. So let's see. I mean, you can write me suggestions. What should I do for week 7? So again, thank you guys for being here, and I'll talk to you soon.